Hello everyone! It's April here, bringing you another episode of Rescue and Recreate, the series where I take a TLC American Girl doll and basically turn her into a brand new doll. The theme for this episode is Rainbow High, and the first 11 suggestions I got are Lily Chang, Karma Nichols, Cheryl Miller, Jet Dawson, Skylar Bradshaw, Robin Sterling, Poppy Rowan, Mina Fleur, Lynn Lux, Violet Willow, and Bella Parker. And our voted fan favorite was Lily Chang, who will get 2 spots on the wheel. If your suggestion did not make it on the wheel, please do not feel discouraged, and ring the bell below to get notified as soon as I post new videos in the future, increasing your chances. With that being said, let's spin this wheel. And it has landed on Lily. I am both excited and, quite frankly, intimidated, and possibly a little scared. I actually already have a TLC Jess mold that I found on Facebook Marketplace a couple weeks ago. Her legs are too loose for her to stand, and she has a number of stains, and is quite dirty. But before I get started cleaning her up, I do want to get a wig on the way, and I ordered one from Dallas Doll Co. Then I got some additional hair extensions on the way from Amazon. Once I had that stuff ordered, I was ready to start cleaning her up. I got her apart to begin with, and then I removed her wig. I threw the cloth body in the wash and got busy cleaning all the vinyl parts with a magic eraser sheet. There are 3 stains that will need acne cream treatment, 1 on each leg and 1 on an arm. While the parts are basking under my UV/heat lamp, I'm going to start her face up. For her face up, I'm basing it more on this illustration rather than the actual doll. I decided to leave her factory eyebrows, but I will be giving her eyeshadow, eyeliner, eyelashes, blush, and red lips. Now, whenever I'm doing face ups, I primarily use watercolor pencils, except for when it comes to lips, which I use a watered down acrylic paint mixture for. Or in this case, I will also be using a watered down acrylic paint mixture for her eyeshadow as well. Lily's lips are not only red, but they also have a heart shape in the middle. So my plan is to use a metallic red for the sides and just red for the heart. And I did want to mention, when I'm painting lips, if the paint starts to get goopy, I just dip my brush in water and dab it on the goopy bits to smooth it out. If I get out of line, I use a Q-tip dipped in water to remove the paint and smooth up the lines. If the paint is already dry, sometimes I will use alcohol instead of water. After I finished her lips and eyeshadow, I gave her a light coat of Mr. Super Clear. And I just wanted to let you guys know, I have now switched to Mr. Super Clear Matte Finish UV Cut. The UV cut is beneficial because it can stop dolls from yellowing over time from sunlight. So that is now the product that I will be using. While her face up dries, I decided to go shopping for supplies. Okay, I think I got everything I need except for the main outfit fabric. I found some on eBay, but it's going to take a couple of weeks to get it. In the meantime, my plan is to finish everything else, starting with her face up. I will be using a black watercolor pencil for her lashes and eyeliner. I will need to redo one side because I messed up the lashes. I used alcohol to remove it, and then I had to redo the eyeshadow before I could redo the eyeliner and lashes. After that, I added her blush using a light pink watercolor pencil, and to finish up her face up, I added red dots below her eyes with a red watercolor pencil. Once I was satisfied with her face up, I added another coat of Mr. Super Clear. The cloth body is now out of the wash, but the limbs aren't ready yet, so I'm going to start working on her shoes and check back in later. Ah, my old nemesis, we meet again. For Lily's shoes, there are 2 options, and I decided to go with these because, well, I think they're prettier. To make the shoes, I used craft foam, black double fold tape, gold piping, ribbon, and a bit of black fabric and hot glue. To begin with, I cut 6 heel pieces from craft foam, but you can pretty much disregard that and anything related to the heel, because while the heels did technically work and she could stand, she looked ridiculous, so The heels have now been removed. But in the given case that you want to make them with the heels, I will include everything that I did in this process. Next, I cut 7 shoe sole pieces for each shoe from my craft foam. I glued together the 6 heel pieces before I glued leather double fold tape around the edge. I glued 5 sole pieces together, leaving the other 2 loose since I will need to sew some fabric onto them. I sewed the gold piping around the edge of the bottom sole. I sewed the black fabric over the top sole, then sewed gold piping to the bottom of that same piece. While I was at the sewing machine, I went ahead and added my gold piping to 2 5-inch pieces of double fold tape. I glued the bottom and top sole pieces to the others and glued the heel onto the bottom. Then I added the top strap and back strap. I marked the straps for where I would need to add holes for the ribbon to run through. I punched out those holes using an awl. I glued down the straps, trimming them where necessary. The final step was to fill in the side of the sole by gluing the double fold tape into place. Now that her face is dry, I'm going to add some sparkly clear sealant to her lips to make them extra shiny. I'm happy to say that the wig has arrived today, so I'm going to place the wig on her head and tack it into place with gel super glue. Now I can go ahead and add the tinsel hair and red hair extensions that I got from Amazon. I will be installing them using the bead method, which means I'm tying the tinsel and red hair to a silicone bead. Then I'm using a hook to pull the wig hair through the bead before clamping the silicone bead down as close to the wig base as possible using a pair of pliers. I kept adding beads to the base of her wig until I was satisfied with the look. I couldn't find an exact match for her earrings, but I did find these on Amazon and decided to go with them. I'm going to bend the post slightly before sliding it into her ear hole to better hold the earring in place. For the knot on her fan, I attempted to follow this tutorial. And while this is a great tutorial, I'm not really sure what kind of knot I actually ended up making, but it's the knot I'm going to use. For making the fan itself, I got these 2.5-inch spatulas and I have this D-ring. My plan is to drill a hole through the spatulas and then put this D-ring on to create my fan base. I was hoping to drill all of the spatulas at the same time, but that didn't really work out, so I did them individually. Since I have like 0 hand strength, I had my husband stretch the D-ring so that I could add the spatulas to it. After that, I hammered the D-ring back into place, and I can now add the decorative knot that I made. I used a gold jewelry ring off a pendant that I had on hand to attach the knot to the D-ring of the fan. I purchased these gold beads to add below the decorative knot, but they won't actually go over this cord. To remedy this issue, I am going to add a red thread around one of the knot loops. Now I can run the beads through the thread and tie it into place. I know her fan doesn't have a tassel at the bottom, but I think it should. So I trimmed my cord thread about 1.5 inches below the bottom knot and separated the cord, creating a tassel. Then I drew a rough pattern on some paper and pinned it to some scrap fabric that I had on hand. I cut out the fabric, singed the edges to prevent fraying, then glued the fabric to the fan sticks using low temp hot glue. Once I finished gluing down the fabric, I did trim it more to a fan shape and singed the edges again. My limbs are finally staying free, so I'm going to restring her now. For her bracelets, I used some beads that I had on hand, some red cord left over from the fan project, and a braided teal ribbon. The gold piece that goes around her waist, I'm not exactly sure if they call it a belt or a sash or something else entirely, but anyways, that is the piece that I'm going to make next, and to do that I cut a gold piece of fabric using Melody's waist as a guide. Once it was the size that I wanted it, I sewed double fold black tape to the edge. I cut 4 4-inch pieces of red ribbon, singeing the edges to prevent fraying. Then I added gold cap rivets 1/4 inch apart on these 4 pieces. I tied a longer red ribbon around her waist and pinned my 4 pieces where I would need to sew them. I sewed them in place, and then I sewed my long red ribbon to the gold fabric, completing the belt. For her hairstyling, it didn't really turn out that great, so I'm not going to waste your time with what I did there. I am still waiting on the fabric to arrive, and hopefully it will be here soon. In the meantime, I made a paper towel pattern for the dress so that I will be ready whenever the fabric does finally come. Okay, so it is the Saturday before I'm hoping this video comes out, and the fabric is finally here. So let's get started on her outfit. Her skirt pattern is essentially a strip of fabric that's 14 inches long and 4 inches wide. There is a skirt waistband that's 2 inches wide and 14 inches long. Once I had that sewed together, I was ready to start on her bodice. For the bodice, it is essentially a strip of fabric that's 13.5 inches long by 3.5 inches wide. But I added 3 half circle cutouts to the top, making the one in the middle taller. I did singe the fabric edges to prevent fraying. Then I added black piping to the top of the bodice. For her jacket, I am basically using a modified Liberty Jane tank top pattern plus a collar and sleeves. And I'm adding black double fold tape to the front edge of the jacket and adding a frog closure to the neck. Please allow me a moment to interrupt to talk about the next episode of Rescue and Recreate, where the theme will be Halloween. So for this theme, you can suggest a specific character or something more vague like a vampire or a werewolf, etc. Here is her before and after, and here she is next to Lily. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you liked that video and would like to see more like it, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have an adorable day.